Are you ready for the best damn sports radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
What is up, Man Hour Nation? We do not have our normal intro with us tonight. Buck having some internet issues. Nonetheless, though, we're still here with you. Wyatt Williams, Brandon Combs will bring him on in just a minute. But before we get to that, I have got to mention, make sure that you like and subscribe. We really appreciate it a lot. Also, website is live currently, manhourradio.com. You can get merch there, as well as you can join the members only page. We are live on Big X Radio from 3 to 5, Monday through Friday. That is where you're hearing us now, or if you're hearing us live, whatever it is, as well as we are on 313 The Flash from 9 to 11 a.m. in Detroit. And with that being said, here he is, the man, the myth, the kind of legend, just kidding, the legend, Brandon B.C. Combs. How are we doing today, sir?
Man Hour Nation, Big X Radio, what is going on, man? Buck having some technical difficulties, so you're stuck with me and Wyatt. Hopefully he can get those figured out
Lucky dogs.
Before the show is over. But look, you're going to get through an entire show, maybe, without Buck, so you're not going to have all the nonsense to listen to. You're not going to have to, endure any of the crap that he normally talks. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm ready for it, man. Wyatt, how was your day, buddy?
It was awesome, man. Had school today. Did a coach's show with the Jeffersonville boys basketball coach. He just won the sectional and stuff. That was a really good show. And yeah, just, going through the everyday life. Went on a picnic with Nikki tonight before the show. Hung out with her for most of the day after school. And that's about it. As we see Buck enters the show right now. Buck, are you with us, sir?
Yeah, I am here. I'm just kind of confused of why we had the same title back-to-back nights. Who was the mastermind behind the title tonight?
That's what happens when you leave me to do titles and videos.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know how to do that.
I think that's BC.
Yeah, I mean, so my first what the of the night, no.
My first what the of the night goes out to Buck, who didn't create a studio, so I was stuck.
Yeah, hey, that's a great looking trucker hat, man. Like, how's it feel? Like, how's it fit?
Dude, I am absolutely. It fits good. I'm very happy with it. I thought it was going to be, kind of like the shirts are. I thought it was just going to be, heat pressed on. That's
right.
actually stitched.
Yep. So that is one thing that that is one thing that they do good about the hats is that, like, they are stitched. But the downside is you can only pick, I think, 4 colors. So lucky for us, like our logo isn't too crazy, right? But I mean, like, it is what it is at the end of the day. I also see that you had the baseball tee on, man. That looks smooth too. Yeah,
man. The new baseball tees, they came in. Very happy with the product. Very happy with how it came out. I know backstage you weren't able to join us pre-show, but Wyatt had Nikki over there looking. I was flexing for her and all sorts of stuff, and she actually had to leave the room because she was so bothered by everything. She was excited, so she was like, "I gotta leave."
Yeah. Or it was past her bedtime because Wyatt and Nikki kind of have like the opposite schedule, right? Nikki goes to bed at 3:00 and Wyatt wakes up at 3:00. So.
Yes.
So the maids kind of do one of those things where they tuck her in, but they wake up Wyatt. Is that how that goes?
Yeah, I mean, like I think it's kind of like a give and take, because they can only handle one at a time. So they're like,
no. What it is they clean her room first.
Oh,
then
got her own room.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why isn't she sleeping in your room, buddy?
Well, because I'm still in high school, my parents aren't cool with that. Way to make this show awkward, BC.
We're going to go ahead and leave that one alone and move on. But anyway, Buck, how was your day, buddy?
My day was fantastic.
I love this show, man.
So the one thing about me, guys, is like I go to work like at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So like right now, like the sun is starting to like rise, and animals are starting to move around and whatnot, right? So I had the fine opportunity of hitting a man-sized raccoon on the way to work. A day. Like, if I wouldn't have known what a raccoon looks like and smells like after you destroy it like on the highway, I would have thought it was the Yeti, man. I swear, like this thing was so big, it looked like a small dog crossing it
Buck, have you ever seen what a Mack truck does to a deer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the worst, man. Like, if you ever get stuck on the side of the highway or something, and you happen to be anywhere near where a deer got exploded by a Mack truck,
no, dude,
the worst smell in the world.
Yeah,
dude, I'm driving down, I think it's 62 in Jeff, right, the other day, and I'm going past the roundabouts, and there is a deer head just sitting on the side of the road. We're stuck in traffic. It's just a deer head. The body is nowhere else around, but the deer head is like in perfect condition. Like it was like just on 10 minutes before that. Like it was the weirdest and like most gross and disgusting thing I've ever seen in my entire life. This deer is just sitting there. And I'm me and Nikki are like, what in the world? Like there was nothing there. It was just the head. Like no blood, no nothing, just the head. I don't know.
You probably should have took a picture of it and gave it to Blake, and he would put it up on his wall.
He totally would have. Absolutely, he would have.
Oh my God!
So besides exploding a raccoon across the highway, it's been a very eventful day. I mean, my internet was down, obviously, so that's exciting. Big shout out to Spectrum for having the most reliable service in Jeffersonville.
Yeah, right here on the live, we've got a picture of just the Man Hour Nation logo for the members only.
Yeah.
So we can only hear Buck. We can't see him over here on the live. But it actually looks a lot better than it normally does. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, just because I make you guys look so bad because, I am so good looking and I want to flex all the time on camera and fix my hair. I mean, it just...
Well, I thought that was the other mic.
Oh, right. Sorry. I mean, you guys don't even know which mic is Mike, so... But it is what it is at the end of the day.
Yikes.
So,
yeah, so... Go ahead. Who's going?
You.
Yeah,
You're
so...
leading the show, sir.
Exactly. So let me speak now. Be seat. No, I'm just kidding. No. So as we move on here, we will move on to some headlines. We're talking Franchise Tag Tuesday. This is the big thing, I guess you could say right now, considering there are going to be a lot of big and viable option names on the market. Many of those being, just to name a few here, Kenny Golladay, Trent Williams, Shaq Barrett, Aaron Jones. But we'll break down each of those, starting off with Buck and Combs next to me. So, guys, I got to ask you. We'll start with Combs. Kenny Golladay. That was the biggest news of the day, I guess we could say. There was a lot of big news for the day, of course, but I guess the biggest headline was Kenny Golladay. Detroit is parting ways with Kenny. He will be a unrestricted free agent heading into the market this year. Where does he sign? Why? And how does this affect Detroit? BCU first, bud.
So there are a lot of people who are fans of the NFC North, like you and myself, Wyatt. And I know I've got friends who are Vikings fans. I got friends who are Detroit fans. I've heard it all, but a lot of people believe Kenny Golladay could have possibly been the best receiver in the NFC North behind your boy up there in Green Bay. I think that this impacts them a lot. You went from... obviously you're not going to have Matt Stafford there. You lose Matt Stafford and you bring in who was the quarterback they traded for?
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff, yes.
So you bring in Jared Goff, and now Jared Goff's losing one of his biggest weapons. I don't like the move for Detroit. I don't understand why they didn't utilize the franchise tag for him. Did they even use their franchise tag at all? Do you know why?
No, I don't think so.
Right,
if they did, they would have used it. No, actually, I was thinking Marvin Jones, but I just thought about Marvin Jones will be hitting the free agent market as well. So they're losing their entire wide receiver core pretty much in this.
Yeah. So you can't be happy if you're Jared Goff.
Oh no,
Kenny Golladay is going to get a lot of looks from a lot of teams. Maybe
Kenny Golladay is a solid
NFC
wide receiver one for any team in the league.
I was just going to say he may stay in the NFC North, whether it's with your Green Bay Packers or my Chicago Bears.
Oh, man.
I think that the franchise tag of Allen Robinson shows that the Bears are probably going after a quarterback here relatively soon. And wanted to keep Allen Robinson there. So maybe they beef up a little bit at wide receiver, or even Green Bay. They could definitely use another wide receiver. So I think that he stays in the NFC North. I'll stick with that. How about you, Buck?
Yeah, I think he will stay in the NFC North as well, but not with the Bears, Packers, or the Vikings. I think he will end up on the Detroit Lions in the end. Basically meaning that if he were to sign a franchise tag with the Detroit Lions this season, he was owed right around $16 million, if I'm not maybe a little south of that. Like I think the wide receiver is 15.7 or 15.6, but like either way, $16 million. And really, that is not too salary cap happy for the Detroit Lions moving forward. So I think they are going to let Golladay test a free agent market just a tad bit, but then they're going to come at him with a contract, $17-18 million a season. But that is not just the reason why they are going to come at him with a contract is because that is less effective on the salary cap, because you can get that $18 million a season, but you can give him like a $60 million signing bonus, and then it doesn't hit the cap as hard in the end. But one of the biggest other reasons why I think he will be staying in Detroit or the NFC North in that fact was because I thought Tampa Bay was probably the biggest player in the Kenny Golladay sweepstakes, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did franchise tag Chris Godwin in the last few hours here. So with that being said,
that was a big addition for them.
Yeah. So with that being said, there basically is no room at wide receiver core in Tampa Bay, and the only way I see him leaving Detroit is if some team offers him a crazy $23-24 million contract. And there are a few teams out there that are pretty crazy right now, throwing around the money and picks, the Chicago Bears being one of them. But if he doesn't end up in Detroit, I think he will end up in Philadelphia Eagles. They are in much need of wide receiver help over there.
Yes, so our next one here that I want to mention, kind of sticking with the theme of offense here, that's Trent Williams of San Francisco. He is one of the top tackles in the league. Big concern here, big problem with him here over the last couple of years has been the injuries. He hasn't played a full 16-game season since 2013, but he's still considered one of the top tackles in the league. The talent is there, the injuries just aren't. That's the main issue. So, Combs, what is a big team you could see making a move on this?
Again, the Bears. Look, I know I said this just now about Golladay, but yeah, the Bears definitely need offensive line help. We just saw that Kyle Long is coming out of retirement after going to retirement. I don't know how that works. I don't know if the Bears get first dibs on him or what, but the Bears definitely need offensive line help. And again, franchise tagging Allen Robinson, I think, has to at least tell Bears fans that this team is moving in a direction of getting a quarterback here soon. And so there's got to be something to it. Now, there are a lot of other teams that need offensive line help. I mean, you look at Philadelphia, you could look at a lot of them.
Dallas, you mentioned
Dak to that big contract. Maybe get.
I don't think Dallas can be able to afford Trent Williams. That's the problem. Dak Prescott is taking up 30% of their cap. I saw this today. Dak Prescott is taking up 30% of their cap, and I believe it was Amari, Jalen, and Zeke take up with Dak, all of them together. Those three take up like 60 or 70% of the cap. So you still have 18 other players offensively and defensively you have to cover. That's just your starters. And you only have 30%, 20% of your, either 40 or 30% of your cap left. Well, and that's going to cover the rest of your roster.
Well, and then on the flip side of that, Wyatt, by Dak signing that deal, the Cowboys in return did save around $10 million a season, so they are able to sign more players still. So,
but nonetheless, that is a lot of money they're giving up for Dak. And once again, does Dak really deserve? I mean, I know we touched on this a lot yesterday, but does Dak really deserve number one quarterback in the league money for the next 3 years? You know, think about it. He most likely won't play for somewhere around half the season this year. He will sit around for, let's say he misses the first half of the season this year. Okay. He will sit for 8 games, right? He will be paid for those 8 games more than Patrick Mahomes, who is on the field balling, who is on the field making MVP cases, who's on the field making Super Bowl contending teams, who is on the field just doing incredible things that we've never even seen before, right? But he's going to get more than Patrick Mahomes. That's the biggest problem that I have with that deal coming through yesterday. But you did mention there, Combs, Trent Williams to the Eagles. Trent Williams was actually a front runner to go to the Eagles a couple of seasons ago whenever he was originally on the market from Washington. But he ended up selecting San Francisco, of course, but he was a favorite for the Eagles. Is this maybe something we see now, Buck? Do you think that this is something we see now? He kind of rethinks and goes with a team that needs some more offensive line help with, a aging, but that is kind of the theme here as well for the Eagles offensive line is the older offensive lineman. Trent Williams, I believe, is 36. So do we see the Eagles go after Trent Williams here?
I mean, you would be dumb not to go after him, but does Trent Williams sign with the Eagles? Absolutely not. Like you said, he is 35, 36 years old. End of his career, he had a back injury and some type of rare cancer, if I'm not mistaken, just a few years ago. So he is looking for right now. He wants to win right now, and what other team to go to right now than the Kansas City Chiefs, because their left tackle suffered an Achilles. No, just because their left tackle, their number one overall pick in 2013, suffered an Achilles injury, and he will not be back to start the season. He'll probably be back week 10, week 11. Give or take. So why not slide a player like Trent Williams and like in there? And I think he would take a veteran pay cut for the opportunity to win a championship. I mean, let's just be honest. 36 years old.
That's a great point. But not just Kansas City. What about Tampa Bay? Maybe if he's chasing a ring, maybe you go to one of the top 3, top 4 teams in the league and try to chase one. And before we get to our first break here, Wyatt, I want to touch real quick on the Dak Prescott deal. Dak Prescott is going to get paid what the Dallas Cowboys figured he was worth to them, to their franchise. Look, I said he was going to get top 5 money. I said Deshaun Watson, he needs to be somewhere around where Deshaun Watson is getting paid. I said maybe just a little bit less. But the fact that they gave him, $1 million more per year than Deshaun Watson, to me, that just shows that they valued him that much more. So that's why I believe Dak Prescott is getting paid the money he's getting paid.
And with that being said, we will head to break. We've got some more free agency headlines coming up for you right after the break. Some what the after that. Stay tuned. We got a great show lined up for you. And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching right now. Don't forget, we've got manhourradio.com. We've got merchandise there, as well as our members-only tab. But with that being said, I'm going to bring back on the boys here. Brandon Combs, Mike Buckheiser, however you want to say it. He is a man of many names, of course. Many I can't repeat here on the radio, of course.
So Wyatt, before you carry on with the show, Combs ended the break with some Dak Prescott talk, and just basically, I saw his comment over here in the chat saying that Dak is top 5 quarterback and he deserves a top 5 quarterback pay. I mean, you can say what you want, but basically, guys, we live in a quarterback league, and the next quarterback up for contract will be the next highest paid quarterback. We see that year after year after year.
I agree.
And so,
top 5 quarterback, he should be paid like the top 5 quarterbacks at this time.
Combs, we went over this just the other day. He is not even top 10.
No, you said he's not top 10.
Yeah, and the numbers
top
don't
5
lie.
quarterback in the league. Oh my God. Okay.
Do you want to get back into this, Combs? Because we certainly can.
But Carson Wentz is, right?
Yeah, he is.
Okay. Carson Wentz has less playoff wins.
How about this?
Prescott.
How about this?
Just throwing it out there.
I guarantee you right now that the Indianapolis Colts will have more regular season than the Dallas Cowboys this season with Carson Wentz at the helm.
Did you know Derrick Henry has more playoff touchdown passes than Carson Wentz?
Did you know that doesn't really matter because Carson Wentz has a Super Bowl ring and Derrick Henry doesn't?
Oh my God. No.
So. Yeah, with that being said, we're going to look at some of our comments here. That's a Super Bowl ring
to be proud of when you had to ride the coattails of Nick Foles to get it.
No, Nick Foles rode his coattails. That is
Nick
definitely
Foles won all the playoff games and the Super Bowl.
But
I'm just saying.
Wentz got him there. Let's be real here.
They wouldn't have won with Wentz under
Combs, true or false? Many people judge success off of championship rings.
False.
It is true. Because you are just kidding yourself now.
It's true, but they shouldn't.
Okay, so it's true. So Carson Wentz has a Super Bowl ring. Dak Prescott doesn't. Bada bing, bada boom. Carson Wentz is better.
So what?
Case point. Buck match.
Yeah. Okay.
Carry on.
So here, as we look at our comments, we got this one as well. While we were on break, Brian Pirtle says the Eagles should sign Brian Pirtle at guard. I don't think you're wrong, Brian. I think that would be a nice addition for him as well. As Brian says, Dak should be paid less than Carson Wentz and maybe under Nick Foles.
He's an Eagles fan. Of course he's going to say that.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
That's probably the most biased comment we've ever had in the history of the Man Hour.
Here's my favorite comment in the history of Man Hour right here. Drew Bruchke says, geez, you two argue like a married couple, LOL. You are correct, Drew. We all do. But at the end of the day, it's all love and fun. Everybody here is best friends, of course.
No,
except for Combs.
I truly
Buck legitimately does hate him.
No,
I'm totally it's mutual, though, Buck. I mean, it's that love-hate relationship.
There's a mutual respect here, right?
Yeah, yes.
Disrespect. Guys, I really think this show would be a lot more entertaining if I was a Lions fan. Like, I mean, NFC North
or a Vikings fan, either one.
Sorry.
This show would be a lot more entertaining if you didn't have crazy takes.
I don't have crazy takes.
Actually, it'd probably be a lot less entertaining because then we wouldn't have anything to yell at you about.
My eyes tell me things that you guys' eyes don't, and my eyes are right 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, okay. Yep, Lions were winning the NFC North, so that's one wrong. The Cowboys are winning the NFC East. There's 2 wrong. Whoever wins the NFC East is going to win a playoff game. There's 3 wrong. So right now you're at 7 out of 10, buddy. You want to keep going?
Sure.
But moving on back to our franchise tag Tuesday trend. We get back here. We mentioned 2 offensive players that, yes, on a Wednesday. Of course. But as we look forward here, we have mentioned 2 offensive players, that being Kenny Golladay. The boys gave their opinions on that one as well as Trent Williams. But now I'm going to look at 2 defensive players, and then we'll hop right back to offense for our 5th and final player here. But before we get offense kicked back off here, I want to mention a couple of names defensively that will be hitting the market. The biggest one that I have saw so far is defensive end Trey Hendrickson for the Saints. This guy had numbers of a top defensive end in the league this last year. Love him, hate him, whatever you want to say about the guy. Nonetheless, he still had numbers like a Pro Bowl level defensive end, but somehow got snubbed out of the Pro Bowl. With that being said, he will be hitting the market. We'll start with you, Buck, because we started with Combs for the two offensive ones. You are a defensive guy, Buck, yourself. So what do you see out of Hendrickson moving forward? Where do you see him landing, and why, as well as why do you think the Saints moved on?
Oh, well, I think the Saints moved on because at the end of the day, cash talks, right? And they pretty much wouldn't be able to afford Trey Hendrickson, and his productivity wasn't up there with some of the top paying players. We're talking like Aaron Donald. You can even throw Sue in there.
Sue is another free agent.
Yeah, Mack in there like as well. But being a defensive end, like I've been saying on the show many times, like as many teams don't say they are a defensive end like away, but there are also some teams that need some defensive end help. One team that comes to mind, the Seattle Seahawks, they just cut weight, or they did not franchise tag Don Lap. They are looking to sign him long term, basically at a cheaper price. And I think Trey Hendrickson would fit well up there in Seattle. He has a motor that doesn't stop, and I think he kind of has that Pete Carroll mindset. I'm going to win one for the Gipper type of mentality there. So I think he leaves New Orleans just because they simply don't value his gameplay the way they should.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure that not signing him was a factor of not wanting to keep him. I think that it has a lot to do with they still don't know whether or not they have to pay Drew Brees this coming year.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of factors right now for the New Orleans Saints which for me, if I'm the New Orleans Saints, maybe it's time you move on from Drew Brees. Maybe you've got to be the one that pulls that plug because
they'll never pull that plug. Dude, Drew Brees could be 75 years old, and the Saints, dude, Sean Payton is so loyal to him, and he's so loyal to Sean.
He's not Tom Brady. He's not the guy that's still in his 40s and is going to get
no,
you to
but
the
his
Super
backup
Bowl.
quarterbacks aren't him, though.
Oh, Jameis Winston is so much better than him right now.
No, he is not.
Right now,
you want to
yes,
talk about
is.
Buck having hot takes and crazy takes. You're sitting here telling me that Jameis Winston is better than Drew Brees.
Yes, this season.
Not your mind.
But because you take it from it's Drew Brees, so you can't get out of your head that it's Drew Brees. But
no,
it's
I
Drew
watched
Brees
his production this year
on a massive decline.
He is on a decline. I will give you that every day of the week, Sunday through Sunday, a whole lap around the week. I will give you that. He is on a decline. But
Jameis Winston right now
his
is
worst
a better
game
than Drew Brees is right now. Yes,
Drew Brees'
100%.
worst game is better than Jameis Winston's best game.
False.
Absolutely. I cannot sit here and tell you that Jameis Winston is going to be good.
You're just going to keep sitting here and lying to the listeners. Yeah, I don't understand.
I think there's more
what you're
people
saying. What do you see on the football field right now from Drew Brees over the last? I'll even say for the last 2 to 3 years. What do you see
for the last 2 to 3 years? I have seen a quarterback that is a playoff caliber quarterback every single year.
Caliber quarterback and gets beat and gets upset every year in the
and when I watch Jameis Winston over the last couple of years, you know what I've seen? I've seen interceptions. I've seen 3 and 13, and I've seen not even on the field because he is a bench warmer.
Combs, I got to defend Wyatt on this one here. You said,
yeah,
you
because
see
you're the defender of all things that are right with the NFL, Mr. Derrick Henry, 7th ranked running back.
He will be this year. So you know who else looks really, really good in the regular season but doesn't ever perform in the playoffs? Go ahead.
The Packers and Aaron Rodgers?
No, they make it to the NFC Championship game. Lamar Jackson. So I'm taking Drew Brees over Lamar Jackson any day of the week.
Buck, come on, man. I was with you on this.
Wyatt, and he's laughing at you.
Buck, we're supposed to be together in this, man. Then you come after my man Lamar. I gotta jump ship on you here. I can't sit and say,
Man Hour Nation, Big X listeners, on behalf of Brandon Combs at @manhour_Combs on Twitter.
And Wyatt Williams at @man_TWW.
No, because you came with some stupidity too. I would like to apologize for the lack of knowledge that is coming out of my co-host's mouth this morning. You guys, I don't understand what the hell you're talking about. I don't understand it. I don't understand what you see in Drew Brees. The New Orleans Saints would be better off if they just got... I don't even care if it's Jameis Winston. I don't care who you go with. You need to cut ties with Drew Brees because he's not going to get you there. What he's going to do is he is doing just like what Brett Favre did before he retired. He is hanging on too long, and he is going to weigh you down. Is he good enough to get you to the playoffs? Sure. But he's not good enough to win in the playoffs.
Okay, Combs. You've had your time to shine. Now it's time to rattle off some stats. Drew Brees had a 70% completion complete percentage this season.
He threw 9,000 5-yard outs.
Okay. Still has how many of those did Dak Prescott throw? But he's a top 5 quarterback in the league, right?
That's all Dak throws is out routes and slants.
Drew Brees also threw for 3,000 yards in just 12 games. Combs. That's averaging 245 yards a game. That's a top. That's a top 10 quarterback in the like in the league. Like if I don't see one. Also, 24 touchdowns and just 6 interceptions.
It's funny,
and he missed. Hold on. And you didn't mention he missed several games too. He had 24 touchdowns and 6 picks, and he missed 4 games?
And with that offense, they should have scored way more points. They should have been more explosive.
How many games did Michael Thomas miss? How many games did Michael Thomas miss? 9
Michael Thomas was out all year.
Were they both playing in the playoffs?
Yeah. Did they beat the Bears?
Yeah. Congratulations!
Yeah.
You beat the Bears.
Congratulations!
Said was the worst 5-0 team of all time.
Congratulations to you. They lost to the Bucks. Oh my Lord! They lost to the Super Bowl champions. The Super Bowl champions that beat my Green Bay Packers in Lambeau in the cold
twice in the regular season.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. We all know Tom Brady is a different. You're telling me right now, Tom Brady couldn't enter the playoffs at 9-7. He is not a different animal in the playoffs. Tom Brady could enter the playoffs at 8-8. He could enter at 7-9, and Tom Brady is still a threat to win the Super Bowl every year. He has won it 7 times out of the 10 he's been. Tom Brady in his career.
Tom Brady, we're talking about Drew Brees.
We're talking about the person that beat
So then
Drew.
what you're telling me is that Drew Brees can't beat Tom Brady. Tom Brady, last time I checked, is in your division. Tom Brady, last time I checked, is in your conference. So you're not going to the Super Bowl. It is time to move on from Drew Brees because all he's going to do is suck up cap room, and he's not going to get you to where you want to be. He is not the same quarterback. I understand he's Drew Brees. I do. One of the greatest quarterbacks we've seen in our generation, for sure. Hall of Famer. First, as soon as he is eligible for the Hall of Fame, he's in. No questions asked.
Top 10
but
QB
he is
all
not
time.
the same Drew Brees. He is not the same Drew Brees that he was 4 to 5 years ago. He is at the bottom of the hill. He's already come down that decline and is at the bottom of the hill and is now just coasting, collecting a paycheck. He is not that guy.
Moving back to Trey Henderson.
No, we're moving on from Trey Hendrickson now. We're going a completely different direction from the Saints. We're actually going all the way across the country here to San Francisco. We just mentioned their tackle, that being Trent Williams earlier. Next, here I'm going to mention a big name in football for the last couple of years. Production's been here and there. It's been great. It's also been a little bit disappearing, that being Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman is now hitting the market as well again. He did not get the franchise tags. He will be a free agent. Nonetheless, this is a big corner that you could add to your team. So Buck, we'll start with you again here. Where does he land? Why? And do you think there's any chance San Francisco possibly goes after a re-sign here?
So if you guys would follow the Man Hour over on Facebook, facebook.com/Man Hour Sports Talk, I posted this about a month ago saying that the 49ers and Richard Sherman will be parting ways because of salary cap issues. But with that being said, I do not think Richard Sherman will go back to San Francisco. I think that time there has run its course, and he won't be going back to Seattle either. I feel like that bridge has kind of been burnt as well. So with that being said, Richard Sherman is 33. Suffered that. Was it a ACL or a Achilles injury a couple years ago?
It was Achilles. He tore his Achilles.
Right, and like ever since then, he hasn't quite been the Richard Sherman that we once knew with the Legion of Boom. Could that have been because he wasn't with a dominant defense? Possibly, but either way, he was a half a step slower. He was getting beat deep. We saw it in the Super Bowl. Tyreek Hill was making him look like a fool over and over again. So my homer pick is I think he needs to go to the Kansas City Chiefs because we need some corner help there, 100%. But with that being said, there are a few teams there are a few teams that I think he would be great addition to. One of them being the Kansas City Chiefs, simply because the Kansas City Chiefs do need cornerback help. But then the Indianapolis Colts, I posted this on Facebook as well. I think he would fit well in that Indy scheme. And
I don't disagree with you there either. I think Indianapolis would be a good landing spot for him.
And then obviously the New York Jets need secondary help after losing Jamal Adams and just being a crappy team anyway. So why not try to get a crafty veteran to teach a lot of those young guys? But then let's stay on that East Coast there. What about the New England Patriots? Bill Belichick loves these older guys, past their prime a tad bit. Bring them into the Patriot way and win a Super Bowl. If the Patriots defense, because they had 8 defensive starters sit out this year due to COVID concerns, all those starters will be black with the addition of Richard Sherman, because I believe they are going to lose the who are the twins on the team? Names slip in my mind, boys. The McCourty twins, right?
Yeah, Devin and McCourty. Yeah,
I do think they are going to lose one of them, so you are going to need to add a player like Richard Sherman on there. So,
you're talking about the Patriots?
Yeah.
Well, also Stephon Gilmore is on is going to be a possible. He's not on the market or anything, but he's only got 1 year left on his contract after this, and they've already talked about possibly moving him. So, if you replaced him,
defensive player, this guy is what Richard Sherman was when he was with the Legion of Boom. I'm telling you right now, Stephon Gilmore is going to get an extension with the New England Patriots. He is not going anywhere, as well as he shouldn't. However, when you talk about Richard Sherman, where does he go? I don't think he goes anywhere. I think he stays a free agent for a very long time because, you're looking at Richard Sherman, who is entering his 11th year in the league. Okay, and in his first 6 seasons, he had 30 interceptions, and he was a beast. He was unstoppable. Since then, in his last 4 seasons, he has 6 total interceptions and hasn't played a full season once.
People also don't throw to his side of the ball anymore because he was so dominant.
He didn't have a side of the ball this year. He played 5 games. So I
believe it was 2 seasons ago, his first year with San Francisco. It was something like the year they went to the Super Bowl as well. It was something like if as a quarterback, if you were to turn and throw the ball to his side and you were to spike it each time and it hit the dirt each time, you would have a better percentage than any other quarterback in the league against Richard Sherman. He was incredible because I think he didn't allow many catches all last year.
Since he's been in San Francisco and over the last 4 years, he's just not been the same player. He's been on a steady decline. He's not the same guy.
He's 33.
He's been in the league for 10 years. Right, but he's 33 years old in the NFL. That's a huge. He's not a quarterback. He's a cornerback. He's not a guy who gets to sit in the pocket. He's a guy who's got to keep up with these young receivers and be
young,
able to
quick
defend
receivers.
Them. Yes,
every year get younger and get faster.
Quarterback is one of those positions you can play until you're 45, like Tom Brady, if you're good enough. Cornerback,
Tom Brady might
receiver,
55. I don't know
back.
yet.
I'm telling you right now, 33 years old is old.
It is
in the NFL. So,
but that is why he goes to a team like the Kansas City Chiefs that play cover 2.
Drink. All right, now moving on from Richard Sherman, we're moving on to our final player here as we have just a little bit of time left here before we take a break. With that being said, I think this might be the best player possibly on the market right now, at least the most potential player other than Kenny Golladay, that being Hunter Henry, tight end of the Chargers. Why in the world that the Chargers even let him go is so beyond me. I can't even explain it to you. You've got a young quarterback in Justin Herbert. You have a great wide receiver core. You're trying to build around this kid who plays in a tough AFC West division. Why would you get rid of one of his best and one of his youngest options to throw to? Why would you do that? Why would you get rid of his tight end? That makes no sense to me. But with that being said, the Chargers have mutually agreed to part ways with Hunter Henry at the moment, not giving him that franchise tag and not giving him the big deal that we were all expecting him to possibly come across here. But with that being said, Combs, will kick it to you here. Where does he land? Why does he land there? And why in the world would the Chargers even move on from him?
Yeah, this is a guy that is going to alter a draft pick somewhere. Because somewhere, somebody was going to go get the kid out of Florida, the tight end out of Florida, and they were going to go pick him up in the draft, and that was their move.
Thought Kyle Pitts?
Now they're going Kyle Pitts. Now, and I believe that team was New England. Now I believe New England is probably going to go get Hunter Henry, and whatever quarterback that they get is going to have a good weapon. Hunter Henry is a stud. I don't understand this move by the Chargers. I don't understand why they didn't use their franchise tag. I definitely don't understand why they didn't use it on Hunter Henry. It does not make a whole lot of sense for me to let this kid go. Well, at this point, especially with, like you said, they're trying to build right now. They're trying to build. They've got a winning football team. They've got a good football team on paper. I don't understand what they're doing here. I don't like the move at all. I told you this before the show. I think that this was the most surprising move of the day, was Hunter Henry going to free agency.
So, also the big question here before we kick it to you, Buck, the biggest question I have you here, the Chargers are sitting here at the 13th overall pick in the draft. Is there a possible trade up for Kyle Pitts that we're maybe seeing here? Are the Chargers saying, okay, look, Hunter Henry's great, but Pitts... I don't think so. I think Pitts
you are not
is a top
a tight end.
No,
I think he'll still be available at 13, and I thought that he would be available at 15 for the Patriots. So
no, I honestly, that would really surprise me. In my opinion, I think Kyle Pitts goes top 10, and I'm saying if he goes any farther after that, I think the farthest he goes back is number 11, which is the Giants.
I don't know if you've watched a lot of Kyle Pitts, but Kyle Pitts
he's a dog. He's a young Jimmy Graham.
He is everything that that Aaron Hernandez could have been if he would.
I'd say Jimmy Graham. Kyle Pitts is so impressive to me.
Graham. He's better than Jimmy.
I'm talking about Jimmy Graham's years in New Orleans when Jimmy Graham was this god tight end. That's the Jimmy Graham, or like Tony Gonzalez, where like. Or even Kittle's not a bad comparison.
He's got the speed of Aaron Hernandez, which
you can also
faster than what Aaron Hernandez was. He's got the hands of a wide receiver.
You can put him at wide receiver. That's what's so impressive about him.
Yeah, I think that Kyle Pitts. I think he'll be available just because of who's selecting in the top 10, and how many quarterbacks I think are going to go. And so I think that Kyle Pitts will be there available at 13. So it is interesting if the Chargers letting Henry go. Maybe that is a move that they're going to.
All right, it is time to talk some sense, into you boys, and this being a surprise that the Chargers let Henry go. I mean, first things first, he has not played a complete season in his 5 years in the NFL. 15 games, 14 games, out the whole 2018 season, 12 games and 14 games.
But his numbers are ridiculous in those games, Buck.
His numbers are ridiculous. He has 400 total yards in a season, 500 yards, 0, 650, 613. Those are great numbers, guys. Tell you what.
For a tight end?
Come on, man.
With two amazing wide receivers out on the edge, as well as Austin Eckler, a pass-catching running back, the quarterbacks have 4 other options to go to.
If Henry would have signed a franchise tag with the Chargers, it would have been $11 million. I'm going to go with Combs on this one, with you, Wyatt. I think the Chargers do get Watts in the draft to replace that tight end Pitts. I'm sorry. I was talking to my friend Keena Watts earlier, and you can get him for a lot less deal. Probably $5-6 million a year for 5 years. So Henry is, I mean, stat wise, I don't think he is even a top 5 tight end in the league. I mean, like you guys can say what you want, but 600 yards.
I think he is. I think
he hasn't played a full season. He has not played a full season in his whole
George
NFL
Kittle's
career.
injury prone, but everybody loves George
because he puts up numbers. He scores touchdowns. Henry this year scored 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns.
He has 4 other receiving options around him, and
it doesn't matter.
Those numbers.
You know who else has a lot of receiving options like around him, but still puts up a crazy amount of numbers?
Who?
Travis Kelce. Best
Travis
tight end.
Travis Kelce is the number 1 option in Kansas City.
Okay, but he still has 4 great receivers around him.
He's got 2. He's got 2.
Are you guys? Do you guys look at that Kansas City receiving core? Their 5th best receiver can start on any other team in the NFL.
They're great because of who their quarterback is.
It doesn't matter. They're still great. But I think Henry goes to the Minnesota Vikings. Like they let Rudolph go.
That's not a bad choice right there.
What about 3 weeks ago? Right, 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So why not go to a team that just released a tight end and they're. I mean, the Vikings team seem to be pretty young, so I mean, 6th year going into the league, but injury prone.
What about Buffalo?
I don't know. Doesn't Buffalo have that tight end? What's his name?
They've got a tight end, but a 2 tight end, 2 really good tight ends has never, especially in today's NFL, a 2 tight end set is not abnormal. So,
but you would shut down Josh Allen's ability to push the ball down the field with a 2 tight end set.
No, you don't have to run the 2 tight end set every down, but I'm saying you have 2 options. I mean, you could swap these guys in and out every series and keep them fresh all season long. That'll
it is hard to get in a groove when you're flipping out like that.
Yeah, but that'll solve your Hunter Henry not playing a full season issue because you might be able to keep him healthy.
Maybe.
All right, boys, that is all the time we have here. We are going to break next. After the break, we've got the world-famous What Does, as well as some Hump Day Blues coming after that. With that being said, we will be right back. See you soon. Stay tuned. So as we get started here with our What Does, I am kicking us off now. So for my first What The of the night, I'm giving it to my very own Pops, my dad, okay?
Uh-oh.
He is leaving me in a couple of weeks to go to the Bristol Night Race. Now, for those of you that aren't NASCAR fans, Bristol is considered the Fishbowl. It is one of the best NASCAR races out there. This is one of the shortest tracks. Nonetheless, it's one of the most exciting races. It's short track, a lot of wrecks, a lot of really cool passing action. So with that being said, Dad, you're leaving me here to go to Bristol? You did this with Daytona last year. Dad, you get the what the. Of course you would, you hater.
My first what the of the night is going to go out to Wyatt Williams. Wyatt Williams coming out here talking about, Drew Brees is Drew Brees. Drew Brees is the Saints. That's who they need to go with. That's where they need to go. That's the quarterback that they need that'll get them to wherever the hell they're going to go, which is a first-round exit if you stick with Drew Brees. Drew Brees is not the quarterback. I'm tired of talking about it.
Didn't have a first-round exit last year.
Is horrible. Right now, he is on the decline. He's actually down off the decline, on level ground, taking up salary cap space. Wyatt Williams, you get the what the.
My first what the of the night is going to go out to LeBron James. If you guys follow LeBron James on Twitter or any social media for that matter, or just active on social media, you see some of the things that LeBron says over and over and over. And he was basically criticizing the NBA about having this All-Star game, basically saying that we need the rest. We we only had 2 months off before the season started up again, yada yada yada. But then LeBron James put in 30 minutes during this this All-Star game. Every time I would turn the TV on, he would be in there passing the ball, shooting it, having a grand old time. So if you are so worried about rest, LeBron James, you could have opted out of the All-Star game, right, guys? So my what the is going to go out to LeBron James in the whole All-Star game. NBA, LeBron James, what the?
And my next what the goes out to the Detroit Lions. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You give up your only wide receiver options through not franchise tagging. Who are you going to have a wide receiver? You going to go out and get your local Walmart supervisor or something? Because I can tell you right now, you ain't got nobody there sitting there waiting for you. You got the 7th overall pick. Let's see who they wasted on and get rid of in 2 years, because that's what the Lions do. That is what they're special for. They have great wide receivers that they waste. And some of them don't even stay to waste. At least Calvin Johnson stayed. They're getting rid of Golladay. Marvin Jones isn't staying. I don't know who Jared Goff's going to throw to. Maybe they're just going to stick a trash can out there and let Jared Goff just throw it into the trash can. Maybe give him a couple points for that. Who knows? But what I do know is the Detroit Lions get my what the.
Sticking trash cans out there. If you ask Matthew Stafford, that's what he's been throwing to his whole career. Anyway, my next what does going to go out to Buck. Buck, you're so surprised that LeBron James was having fun during the All-Star game. LeBron James got to pick the team. LeBron James sits there and says, I don't need time off. I don't need any rest. And then 2 nights later, takes a night off for rest. This guy does not mean what he says. He does not say what he means. He goes out there, he collects his paycheck, he plays basketball. He's not the guy. He's not the GOAT. Buck, you get the what the.
And my next what the is going to go out to a certain internet provider here in the southern Indiana area. You guys know exactly who I am talking about, but I'm not going to name drop anything whatsoever. So,
you already name dropped him earlier at the beginning of the show.
So, guys, I am a software engineer. I know how to, do stuff on the computer. I can fix your computer if it says, hey, I'm broken, right? But there are a few things that I can't do or simply just don't want to do. That's why I call people like Spectrum to do it for me. So, for you guys that don't know where I live or like how I do the show, I have a little studio out in the garage, which is roughly about 400 feet from the house. So each night I run a 400-foot internet cord from my studio here into the house. Well, late last week that internet cord broke. It was cold, like it cracked, yada yada yada. I could have ran a cord myself, but I called Spectrum like, hey, I need this internet cord ran. Can you guys do it for me? They said sure. No big deal. Long story short, guys, it is a 400-foot run from my house to the garage. A said internet provider, I'm not going to drop any names, Spectrum, but they ran the cord 397 foot. Meaning the cord comes into the studio, but I can't get it to plug in up on top of the desk. Spectrum. You guys get the what the. Come on, guys.
Okay, I'll admit it. I am a wuss, a sissy when it comes to heat. All right, especially with coffee. All right, I don't like my coffee too hot. I hate the feeling of your mouth burning. I just hate that. I like the taste of coffee.
Old enough to drink coffee?
But it's just, shut up. But it's just too hot, okay? So we have a local coffee place. Not going to name drop any names, but I always get kids heat there. But I whisper it because I don't want people to know how much of a sissy I am. And every time I whisper it, they're like, what'd you say? Oh, kids heat? Did you say kids heat? And they're like broadcasting it to the whole world. And I'm like, shut up. Yes, shh. Quiet. And they continue to yell, oh, kids heat, okay. And they write on the side of my cup, it says kids heat. So while I walk around the coffee shop, I got a cup that says kids heat, okay? I know I'm a sissy, but the whole world doesn't need to know that. So unnamed coffee provider for me that thinks I'm a sissy as much as I am, you get the what the.
Wyatt, you do this to yourself, buddy. I don't even know what to tell you anymore. You do this all to yourself. There's such thing as called iced coffee too, Wyatt. I don't get
iced coffee is for women, BC. You probably drink iced coffee.
Iced coffee is for women, says the guy who says, I need mine with kids heat. Get out of here. At any rate, my next what the is going out to all the fighters out there that are criticizing Aljamain Sterling for not fighting after he got hit with an illegal knee last Saturday at UFC 259. The guy was on his knees, got a massive, nasty knee to the face, which is illegal, and then could not continue the fight. They gave him the title. He did not want the title that way. He ripped the title off, left it in the ring. When he left the building, was not wearing the title belt. Even said, I don't want to win that way. They had to take him to do the post-fight interview. He was sitting down. They had to carry him off of that post-fight interview. I don't even know why they interviewed the guy to begin with. But to all the fighters out there criticizing this man for not continuing to fight, how about we criticize Peter Yan for going out there and throwing an illegal knee and concussing his opponent? That's not Aljamain Sterling's fault. Why is everybody so up in arms about Aljamain Sterling winning the title because he couldn't continue after getting hit with a vicious illegal knee? So all those fighters criticizing him, you guys get the what the.
My final what the of the night is going to go out to my little man. If you guys watched the show last night on youtube.com/manhour, you guys saw my little man right up in my grill all night long, right? And like there were times that like I mean, but here's the problem with that. I bribed this kid. I'm like, hey man, do you want a sucker? Like, hey, let's go get a sucker and like watch the Toy Story, right? And like he's like, yeah, dad, awesome, right? And so he is sitting down being a good boy, watching the movie, like, you know, like
Is your kid a dog?
Yes.
Is your kid a dog?
First
He's
things
sitting
first,
like a good boy.
First things first, I know that sounds like a bad parent, but let's be honest. All parents bribe their kids at the end of the day. As soon as we hit the go live button, this dude is right here up in my grill, pushing the buttons on the mixer, trying to get on the mic. He's counting to 10, which awesome. He can count to 10 and do his ABCs. But baby Buckheiser, come on, man. Give some daddy some space when we're doing the show. You get the what the bruh?
He had better taste than Buckhead.
And that right there is all the time that we have for the What Does. Be sure to stay tuned next Wednesday for the What Does, one of the best segments on this show. Absolutely. But with that being said, when we come back, we have an awesome segment as well with an even better thumbnail in front of it. That being the Hump Day Blues with myself, the Wyatt Williams. We will see you in 2 minutes.
Combs, can we mute the host? Can we mute the host?
We can. And we will.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hump Day!
Blues. Yes, sir. All right. So now as we get into our Hump Day Blues, yesterday we have our Crystal Ball Player of the Week, which I give you 5 players of a recent trend that are set to have a good weekend and recent play. But I stuck with the college basketball theme here because, like I said, it's March Madness, baby. We got conference tournaments all this week, and next week, the big dance happens. I cannot wait for the big dance. I am itching to fill out those brackets.
There's a cream.
And man, it seems like we're getting closer every single day. But yeah, here we go. So the first player for the Hump Day Blues is going to be Jeremiah Robinson Earl, forward of Villanova. Now, here's the deal. Jeremiah is a great player. I want to go ahead and say that. But a good player needs their leader. A good wide receiver needs his quarterback. A good forward needs his point guard to feed him the ball. that good player needs that other good player that feeds them and fuels them. And Colin Gillespie was that player for this Villanova team for everybody. And his torn MCL has been a huge and disappointing and heartbreaking, however you want to say, loss for this team. He averaged 14 points a game, 4 assists, and ever since he's been out, Nova has not been the same team, and I expect that trend to continue into the tournament. Nothing against Jeremiah at all in this, but here's the deal. A forward needs his point guard, and if you don't have your point guard, the leader of the team, you're going to struggle as it is. So I got Jeremiah Robinson Earl, forward of Villanova, is kicking off my list here for the Hump Day Blues.
Just to add to your point there, like it's have it why at this. Yes, I do know a forward needs his point guard, a receiver needs his quarterback, like etc. But in the basketball realm, like a single player can take over a game and make a big aspect for him.
Absolutely,
he needs to step up. Yeah, he needs to step up and put Villanova on his back if they want to have any chance in the postseason whatsoever. Like, he has to step up. So hopefully, for Villanova's sake, I hope you are wrong on this, but I think you're right. Like, I just don't think he has that it factor, right, to say, hey, this is my team now. So,
well, the biggest problem I see so far is he's just a sophomore. You lose a guy like Gillespie that is an upperclassman leader, a senior, a point guard for the team. You know, your point guard should be your leader. Gillespie is that leader. Your senior should be your leader. He is that senior leader. He was really everything for this team. And this loss has proved huge. They didn't even win out in the Big East tournament. And that is not as hard of a tournament as the Big Ten is, as the Big 12, as the Pac-12 even. So, you know, even the ACC, I'll go ahead and say that, you know, the Big East is not as good as the ACC. So, you know, if you can't even win that, they're going to struggle in the tournament. Now, I will say this team can band around Jeremiah Robinson Earl, but for that to happen, he's going to have to play really well, and I just don't see too much pressure on one player who already was a good player, not great player, but nothing against Jeremiah here. I got him as my first player for the Hump Day Blues.
Side note here, isn't it kind of sad seeing the downfall of that Big East Conference just because they were so dominant for so long, and they're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Well, think about it too. There was at one time where they had Louisville in it when Louisville was in their best years with Pitino, competing for a national title every year. They had UConn whenever Shabazz Napier was there, and they were competing for UConn. I mean, remember that year that UConn won the national title in men's and women's basketball? You know, so the Big East has Villanova as well. They're not a scrub. Butler as well. Butler's been in the finals twice, so they're no scrub of a division at all. But they have definitely had a fall since that time. So, yeah, absolutely. Just adding to what you said. But next, as we move on to our second player for the Hump Day Blues, it is going to be Jay Heath, guard out of Duke. Okay, Duke isn't the hot team already that we normally see. Coach K's team isn't up to the normal par whatsoever, and this guy should be the leader necessarily for this team. It's a weird year. Heath has not been astonishing. We all know that. We all know that Duke hasn't been astonishing as a whole as they normally are. They're the blue blood of college basketball. They are the best team over the last 10, 12, maybe even 15 years, other than Kentucky. I'd say it's Kentucky and Duke neck and neck. It would be a tough choice to be who would be the best of all of them. But with that being said, I mean, I'm just expecting that to continue. Duke has really struggled all year. Even if they make the tournament, I'm not expecting too great of a run. I'm expecting maybe at the best, if they make it to the Sweet 16, that's a championship for them. Like a normal year, if they would have won the championship with that amount of success, the best they can do is the Sweet 16 this year because they are just bad. It's not Duke. It's not what we've seen over the last couple of years. The Zion, RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish team, Trey Jones even that year. You know, it's just not, you know, Jason Tatum. It's not those teams that we've seen over the last couple of years. They're just having a bad year, and Jay Heath hasn't been able to help much, and I don't see that changing at all.
Yeah, and I think you could have probably picked anybody from the Duke team, and like said, they're going to have some Hump Day Blues simply because of everything that I said. Let's flash back to what it was, December or January when, let's put air quotes around this. Coach K was basically going to pull out his team from all non-conference games because he was scared of the coronavirus. virus, aka they're like 0-9 or something. They were playing absolutely horrible. Since then, they have kind of turned it around a tad bit, but that AC tournament road that they have, it is going to be rough for them. And I mean, I think anybody on the Duke roster is going to have, like, everybody on the Duke roster is going to have just a bad week of basketball.
Well, that's the same thing with Duke, too. They're a very spread out roster. Everybody scores merely the same amount of points on the starting five. Nobody really stands out to you. So that's why I had to pick Heath, because in a way, if I had to pick a leader, he would be that leader, because he is the guard for the team. So, he's just not been up to the par that we thought he would be. So moving on now, I'm going to take Avery Anderson, guard of Oklahoma State. So last night we saw Cade Cunningham as my one of the players of the week on my crystal ball predictions. Cade Cunningham is the star of this team. Like, it's not even close. He's the best player in the Big 12, possibly the best player in all of college basketball. If not the best, then Luka Garza is the best, and he is a very, very close second. Most likely, like I said last night, we'll see him go first overall in the draft. But Avery Anderson, like I said, he is the number 2 for this team. He had a big night the other night whenever Cade was out with the twisted ankle. I believe he put up 31 points against West Virginia in their win, and that's great. That means Avery Anderson is a great player without Cade Cunningham on the floor. But here's the deal: Cade Cunningham takes up so many shots, and they're not bad shots. I'm not saying he's a ball hog necessarily, but Cade Cunningham is just such a good player that you can put the ball in his hands every play, and he will score you points. He is that guy that you can give the ball to, and he'll put up 50 points in a night for you. He is that incredible player. So when he returns, whether if it is this next game or whether if it is 2 games out. If he is taking the shots for this team, if Cade Cunningham is, then Avery Anderson is going to struggle for Oklahoma State. And it's a good struggle essentially for him, because that means they're going to start being dominant again, and really playing well, even though they've been dominant while he's been out. That's how good this Oklahoma State team is. I'm telling you right now, everybody filling out your brackets, Oklahoma State is a great, great, great team, and they are suited and ready for a deep tournament run.
See, why I was on board with you with your first 2, but anybody from the Oklahoma State roster, I cannot get on board with that because of what I said yesterday about Cade Cunningham. He has officially, they said that he will play this week moving forward for Oklahoma State, and Cade elevates every player around him. So if you think Cade Cunningham is going to have a good week, there's no way that anybody from Oklahoma State can have a bad week. No way.
I don't disagree with you there. I just think that he takes up a lot of shots for him, and it gives Anderson a little less of an opportunity. But next with our player, this is going to be anyone guarding Rocket Watts for Michigan State. They are a hot team right now. They've beat 4 top 5 teams in the last couple of weeks. They just beat Michigan. They just beat Ohio State. They just beat Iowa, and they just beat Illinois. Those are all teams that are going to be 1 and 2 seeds in the tournament. And those are all teams that are most likely, I can sit here and guarantee you that at least 2 of those teams go to the Final Four. Maybe one of them wins the national title of those teams. But, they are a really good team right now. They're a hot commodity, and he's a great guard for that great team that's essentially getting their rise now. Tom Izzo is starting to figure everything out, and Rocket Watts has really been the leader here for this team. So like I said last night, Rocket Watts was that player for me in my crystal ball predictions. So I'm going to go with anybody playing against him, any guard that's going up against him. It's going to be a long night for you, man. It is going to be a long and tough night. And like I said, Michigan State is led by this team. He makes the team so much better. So it's going to be tough to guard him. It's going to be tough to run the floor with him. It's going to be tough to keep up.
Yeah, he has definitely had a good streak of last 5 or 6 games, but he hasn't been able to really put a full season together or even play well for more than 5 games in a row. Like, he plays 3 or 4 games well in a row, and then he kind of just falls off the map. So hopefully he doesn't fall off the map and you are correct, because I definitely respect and value your college basketball opinion here, but it might be too early, Wyatt. Like, I think you're buying stock too early on this kid.
I definitely could be. I'm telling you, Like, I was sitting around with Nikki today, and we were looking over the bracket of what could be on Selection Sunday. As they're kind of mapping everything out right now, putting in their predictions, Joe Lenardi for ESPN. And, man, we were sitting there, and I'm like, man, I really like Michigan State. I think they're a possible Sweet 16 team, even though they'll come in as possibly a 12 or an 11 seed, maybe even lower, who knows. But I think they are a real sleeper team, and it's crazy that I'm sitting here telling you that Tom Izzo's very own Michigan State Spartans are going to be a sleeper team, but they are. They absolutely are. They're a good team. But moving on here, my final Hump Day Blues player, Trayce Jackson-Davis of the Indiana Hoosiers, the forward. And it pains me to say this.
No,
it absolutely pains me to say it because I love Trayce Jackson-Davis. But you know what the biggest problem is with Trayce? You know what Trayce's biggest problem is? It has nothing to do with him. It is everything to do with Archie. Archie Miller cannot coach this IU team well. You know, and I hate it for him because Trayce Jackson-Davis on every single play for the Hoosiers should touch the ball. Every single play, whether if he is receiving it down low in the paint and he is putting up a shot, whether if he is getting the ball and passing it, whether if he is, he should never be setting screens like Archie Miller has him doing. Archie Miller has him running screens back and forth, and it's crazy to me. I don't understand how you can do that. The only reason Trayce Jackson-Davis should ever be running screens is on pick and rolls. That is it. Whenever he's setting up to run a play where he gets the ball and gets it inside and dunks it. Trayce Jackson-Davis is a Wooden Award finalist. He's going to be a great player in the league. He's a great player for IU right now, but he is being wasted by the Hoosiers. We have seen this time and time again, whether if it was Romeo Langford, whether if it's Trayce Jackson-Davis. This is crazy. IU has got to get rid of Archie Miller, and it's coming this offseason. I got to meet Archie. He's a nice guy, but I can't sit here and support it anymore because Trayce Jackson-Davis is suffering because of it. And Trayce Jackson-Davis, I hate it, man, but you're gonna be the Hump Day Blues #1 bad player of the week because they just don't. IU doesn't know how to scheme well with you. They don't know how to use you. They don't know how to run the floor with you.
So, Combs, you know what they say about nice guys?
They finished last.
Nice guys do finish last, and that's exactly where Indiana is at. Is pretty close to last place, getting into the tournament. They are not going to make it. But Wyatt, I do agree with you. I think Jackson-Davis is just. He is not a good fit for the Indiana scheme that they are trying to run, I think. But with that being said, sometimes shooters got to shoot their shot, man. Sometimes a player just has to say, you know what, coach? I'm feeling it, right? Yep. Come on, man. I mean, this is coming from a coach. Sometimes players just got to play. Right, Hess?
Boom! And that right there is our Hump Day Blues. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to head to break. Thank you so much for listening. Wyatt Williams, Brandon Combs, and Michael Buckheister here with you. We will be right back with some more headlines. We'll talk some free agency coming up as well as some other great headlines coming up here on the Man Hour. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Wyatt Williams along with the Brandon Combs and the Michael Buckheister. As you see it there, Man Hour is live every Sunday through Thursday here on the YouTube app at 8 p.m. Eastern. We are also live Monday through Friday on Big X Sports Radio. We've also got an awesome website up. That is manhourradio.com, where you can get some merchandise for us. As you see BC, Brandon Combs wearing right now, you see the trucker hat and the Man Hour shirt right there as it is. Look at that shirt. What a stud right there. And also you can join the members only page. Be sure to like and subscribe. Look at those muscles and the fuzzy head. But nonetheless, we are back here.
Combs, I'm going to lie, man. That baseball tee is slick, man. I
it
like
is.
it.
No, that baseball tee is nice.
Man,
absolutely.
like the black on red is fire, man. The black on red
nice.
is it's
designed by yours truly.
Yeah.
This one is actually, it looks black on, it does, I'm looking at it on the screen, it does look black, but this is actually the navy one.
Okay.
Still,
I did
nonetheless,
get the
that's
black one
dope.
too, though. I'll wear the black one tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, I like it. I like the way it came out. I think it looks really good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So as we get ready here for some more headlines, we're going to talk a little bit more free agency here, and then we will move on from that.
Let's do it.
But with that being said, we got a lot of names here that we've got to cover. But with that being said, we're not going to cover all of them. We're going to save many of them. But the first name I'm going to toss out here, and this is an interesting one. My team involved, that is running back Aaron Jones. But here's the deal. Green Bay doesn't sign him to the franchise tag. They don't franchise tag him. But what they do say is, we're going to work out a deal with Aaron and make this work.
I'm just laughing because we finally talk about a Green Bay Packer going to free agency, and Wyatt's like, but they're gonna work on a deal. They're not gonna let this guy go.
The Packers organization already said, I don't like it. Honestly, I think they're gonna pay Aaron too much. I think we need to get rid of Aaron. I think it's time for Aaron to leave. I think AJ Dillon's a great running back.
Go get James Conner.
Nah.
Or Benny Snell.
No, but with that being said, the Green Bay Packers have come out and said they are not franchise tagging, but instead working on a long-term deal instead. So if this long-term deal does not fall through, he will be a free agent. But we'll start with you, Buck, on this one.
Right.
Do the Packers work out the long-term deal? If not, where is the landing spot for Mr. Aaron Jones? And after that, we'll go to you, Combs.
No, Kansas City. Oh, you want me to elaborate on that? So, I'm just totally playing. There are very few running backs in the league. Combs, we have talked about this, that you signed to his long-term deal. Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, and Zeke were pretty much the only three, and then Derrick Henry, like I think you threw in there too. Those are the only 3 or 4 running backs that are worth the money that they are, quote, asking for. Running backs are a dime a dozen, Combs. Like, you can get a running back in the draft for $3 or $4 million in the third round, and they're going to be just as productive in Green Bay, in Tampa Bay, in Kansas City, and in Chicago as a veteran running back like Aaron Jones, because we live in the age of a 2 running back system right now. Aaron Jones needs the thunder to his lightning. And when you pay, I believe Aaron Jones is reporting actually for $18 million a season. When you pay a running back $18 million a season and he has to have his sidekick to, carry half of the load, I'm not going to give you that money. Aaron Jones and Miami have been linked for the last month now, and with Ryan Fitzpatrick coming back to Miami, not retiring, why not go down there and, get on a young team, have some fun, make your $18 million he's 26 years old. So he'll probably sign a 5-year, $18 million per year deal and be shelved in 3 years.
So I'll give you 2 reasons why not Miami. Myles Gaskin, and
I think Myles Gaskin is the running back in Miami. I don't see them bringing anybody else in, and if they do, I think that's stupid.
Well, they already did. They got Matt Breida. So
Breida's already been there.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. They've already got 2 really solid running backs. They don't need a third one. I look at,
Even Ahmed, Salvin Ahmed.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at teams that have, needs for a second running back, and, I know we've been talking about Homer picks, and I know I've mentioned the Bears a lot, but, I mean, how about Aaron Jones and David Montgomery splitting snaps? I mean, these are guys like...
Would you pay him $18 million, though?
Well, what are they going to do with... Two questions are, what are they going to pay him, and also, what about Tariq Cohen? What are they going to do with Tariq?
They're going to move. They don't use Tariq Cohen enough. They're going to end up moving Tariq Cohen. But I don't know. I mean, you look at the Bears. You look at there's a lot of places where Aaron Jones fits in. New England. New England could use a running back. You look at
not with his running style.
What about Buffalo? Buffalo's got Singletary, but if you throw Aaron Jones in that mix, I think Singletary could be your second back there. They've
already got Moss too, though.
Yeah, but again, Aaron Jones is an upgrade from both, so you could do something else with the other two. I feel like Aaron Jones fits in a lot of places. I think that Green Bay needs to find a way to get it done, though, because they need to secure something for Aaron Rodgers. Like, they cannot lose weapons on the offensive side of the ball and keep Aaron Rodgers happy. It's just not going to happen. So they've got to do something, whether it's, probably give Aaron Jones the money he's asking for and go get one of these high, name wide receivers, whether it's, Kenny Galladay or, the other kid there whose name's escaping me from Detroit.
Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones. So I just, I think that they find a way to get it done up in Green Bay. But if not, Aaron Jones can fit in a lot of different schemes.
There's no reason that the Green Bay Packers have to get this done for $18 million a season, like what he's asking for.
You have to get it done because you have to keep Aaron Rodgers happy. I mean, what do you replace him with?
A.J. Dillon's
a beast.
Yeah.
Jamal Williams.
Yeah, Jamal Williams I'd like as well. And if you want to sign Aaron Jones, say you get him at a discount, $15 million a season. I don't know how much salary cap room that really gives you to go get a big name CAA.
Not much.
Yeah, I mean, because those names that you mentioned, Combs, they're going to warrant $15, $16, $17 million a season, and if the Packers sign Aaron Jones to a $16 million deal, they only have $8 million room of cap space. So you have to give and take somewhere. And with the A.J. Dillon and Jamal already on the team, doing pretty good. Like A.J. Dillon probably carried more of the load last year than Aaron Jones did. I think as far as later in this season, go out and get Juju. Go out and get Kenny. I mean,
yeah. I'm fine with whatever they've got to do something.
I'm fine with Kenny.
Aaron Rodgers happy.
Not a big fan of Juju.
They've got to do whatever they've got to do to get Aaron Rodgers some weapons, and if they do that, this could be the best team in the NFC because of Aaron Rodgers. They could be it could be another NFC title game where it's Tampa versus Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers maybe finds a way to get it done finally again. Like, he's got to have weapons around him to be able to succeed. We've already seen that. So go get him the weapons he needs and get yourself another Super Bowl, because that's all that you're missing is weapons around Aaron Rodgers.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. It is to the two of you here. Does Aaron Rodgers need a wide receiver more or a overpaid running back more?
Wide receiver. A second.
I don't think either.
Neither.
I don't think either. I think he needs more defensive options. We've got plenty of wide receivers. Allen Lazard is a great wide receiver. Yeah. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is a great wide receiver. Quantas St. Brown is not a bad wide receiver.
Those guys
Jamon Moore would be bad.
Receivers, not great. You have one great
Allen Lazard is a stud. Stud.
He is a great number 3.
Allen Lazard could be a wide receiver 1 for many teams in this league. He just hasn't gotten the option because the best wide receiver in the league is sitting over top of him. And Aaron feeds the ball to Devontae so many times. But whenever whenever Devontae went out, Allen Lazard was that guy. I mean, Allen Lazard stepped up huge. Allen Lazard got a ton of targets, and then Marquez Valdes-Scantling got a ton of targets as the year has gone on. Really, Marquez Valdes-Scantling only had one bad situation all year, was whenever he fumbled against Indianapolis. Other than that, Marquez Valdes-Scantling was pretty good. I would say, and then you look at tight end, we got Tonyan as well. So I don't think they need either. I think that you cut ties with Aaron Jones. I think you save the cap space, and I think you go after somebody like Yannick Ngakoue, who is on the free agent market, who is a great defensive end, as well as maybe it's some offensive line help, depending on if D-Bach is going to be back. You could use some help at guard. Hopefully, maybe you could use that money to re-sign Corey Linsley, who was from Ohio State, came to the Packers. He's been a great center for the Packers. Aaron Rodgers and Corey have always had a really good connection. So I think, you can use that money for a lot of other really good places because the Packers have a lot of good running back options. Aaron Jones is a great running back. I am not going to deny that whatsoever. I think he's a top 5 pass catching running back in the league. He puts up the numbers for it, of course. We've all seen him have, I think he had against Dallas this year, he had, a combined 300-something yards for passing, for receiving and rushing.
Worst defense in the NFL. Congratulations.
Well, still, it's an NFL defense, and to have that many yards and as many touchdowns as he did. He had many games like that. You can look at the Vikings as well, who have a great defense. He tore them up in week 1. The Bears.
I think you use the word great way too much because you talk about Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Allen Lazard. Those are great wide receivers. No, they're not. Neither one of those guys has ever even reached 700 yards receiving. No, neither one of those guys has great wide receivers.
They've got the best wide receiver in the league sitting over top of them.
Yeah,
in Davante Adams.
This is where stats will lie to you, Combs. Just because they're not
56 targets to 26 receptions does not lie to me. 63 targets to 33 receptions does not lie to me.
How many yards on 33 receptions?
Yeah,
690.
That's a lot. That's a big margin.
That's a great number.
What are you doing on those other 30 targets?
Do what?
What are you doing on those other 30 targets?
You are the 3rd or 4th option, so you at that point, Aaron Rodgers is kind of running for his life and kind of throwing the ball like at your feet.
I'll give you that on maybe 10 of them, not all 30. Stop it now.
I'm sure he had some drops. In the playoff game, he had 2 or 3 drops.
You look
right?
at Allen Lazard had 50 this season alone, had 46 targets, 33 receptions, 451 yards.
So he had 7 drops, right? Or 7 non.
You'd have 13 times he was targeted. The ball didn't touch him, or he didn't catch it. Let's put it that way.
So,
but 451 yards. If he's a great receiver, you're looking for him more. He's not a great receiver. He's a good receiver, but he's not a great receiver. Allen Lazard couldn't be a number 1 on very many teams other than maybe New England or,
he would be a number 1 on every team but 5, I bet.
No.
Yes.
I could name maybe 5 that he would be a number 1 on.
What are the 5 that he would be a number 1
teams. On? The Jets, the Giants, the Patriots.
Right.
Okay, get this. Against the New Orleans Saints, okay? He had 6 catches, 146 yards, and a touchdown.
Look at it.
That's
still
crazy.
He had 1 game. So he had a good game.
Okay. Carolina, 5 targets, 56 yards. That's a nice margin there while you're splitting touches with Devontae. Against Minnesota, 4 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. He also missed...
He has 99 targets, 69 catches, 935 total yards.
He missed 7 games. And he still had how many yards?
7 games? What are you talking about?
Allen Lazard missed 7 games this year.
He was hurt.
Okay. And he had 451 yards. He averaged 13 yards a catch.
13 yards a catch.
That's great numbers. That's huge. 13
you're
yards a catch is a first
Rodgers
down.
And you're a deep downfield type team. What do you, like... Of course,
so 13 yards a catch doesn't impress you?
Stop it. Stop.
That's a first down every time you catch the ball.
They are not great wide receivers. They are good wide receivers, not great wide receivers.
And this is
Somebody
why the
get this man a
Bears
pair
are
of
going to give up
glasses.
6 draft picks and arguably one of their top defensive players for a quarterback that's going to be a bust.
Okay, so you want to talk about look at what freaking Allen Robinson had throwing to him, and look at what his numbers were.
Okay, you cannot compare a top 5 wide receiver, top 10 receiver in the league to somebody who is a wide receiver 3 on a team with arguably could be the best wide receiver core in the league.
Those guys are supposed to be number ones, right? Those guys are guys that could be number ones.
If they were number ones, their numbers would be better than ours.
Allen Lazard would not have the numbers he has if he was competing with Devontae Adams for targets. There is no way. Devontae Adams would storm him all day, every day.
Okay.
It wouldn't even be fair.
Let's look at Darnell Mooney then. A rookie who was the Bears' third option this year. Okay. 61 catches, 631 yards.
How many games did he play? What's the average?
16.
What's the average?
10.3.
Whole 3 yards less.
Okay. And
that is also...
he found the end zone more than both of them.
And Mooney also didn't miss a game, though.
Come on.
Well, you're telling me 7 weeks doesn't make half of a season doesn't make a difference?
No, I'm telling you that not everybody who steps on the field in a Packers uniform is a great player, Wyatt. As much as you love to think
Darnell
that
Mooney
are,
was a wide receiver
they're
2,
not.
by the way. He was not a 3. Mooney was the 2.
And as Combs is speechless. So Wyatt,
I'm not speechless. I'm not going to keep arguing about Allen Lazard and freaking Valdez Scantley being great receivers because it's a stupid.
I'll give you that. Valdez Scantling is a good receiver, not a great receiver, but Allen Lazard is a great receiver. He will be amazing if he gets to a wide receiver 1 spot.
Maybe if he could play a full season. How about that? Maybe then he'll be a great receiver. But he hasn't done that yet in the NFL either.
Either has Hunter Henry, but you're saying he's a great tight end. Come on now. Use your same argument for everybody. Lamar Jackson's still trash. Carry on.
Stop. All right, that's where we have to separate Buck. But moving on to our next prospect here that will be, or not prospect, what am I saying? Our next person that will be on the free agency. This is a very interesting name and a big name across the league. And a very crazy situation. Tight end Rob Gronkowski with the Buccaneers. Will he stay with Tom? Will he not stay with Tom? I can't even believe this is an argument, honestly, because Rob Gronkowski has said before he is never playing without Tom Brady. The Detroit Lions one day worked out a trade with the Patriots to send Rob Gronkowski to the Lions. He goes into Belichick's office. They say, hey, we traded you. He looks at him and said, you can't do that. And they said, why? He goes, well, because I'm retired. I don't know how that can go through. And then they were like, what do you mean you're retired? He said, well, I mean, I'm retired. So if you trade me, I'm just going to retire. So it's not going to work. So if he's doing that, why would we see him leave? He literally came out of retirement to play with Brady. He's played with Brady every single year of his career. They have possibly the greatest quarterback tight end duo of all time. I'll give them that. They have the greatest tight end quarterback duo of all time. And honestly, it might not even be close. They might have the best receiver quarterback duo of all time. They've got more touchdowns in the Super Bowl than any other matchup ever, even dating back to Jerry Rice in Montana. But with that being said, Rob Gronkowski will be a free agent. Combs, we will start with you on this one. Does he stay with Tom? Does he not stay with Tom? And why?
Does not stay with Tom, and here's why. One word: Miami. He loves Miami. He loves the nightlife of Miami. Rob Gronkowski is Miami. It makes a ton of sense for him to go to Miami, where they've got a young up-and-coming quarterback, where he can do things where he doesn't have to be a part-time tight end, where he can be the guy again. And not only that, after games, he gets to go party in Miami. And that's what Rob Gronkowski loves to do. That's
but I know Tampa is not the partying spot that Miami is, but Tampa's still a great city, and Tampa is still a great party city.
Tampa is a great city, but look, they're not going to pay Rob Gronkowski the money that Rob Gronkowski is going to ask for. And they aren't. I don't think that they're willing to really put anything into Rob Gronkowski, and I think he still wants to play. I think Miami is a great landing spot. I think Miami is the only other landing spot for him. So I'm telling you, I really believe that Rob Gronkowski goes to Miami.
Yeah, he has been linked to Miami because, like, I believe he has a house there, like on the beach, and the party life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, he has also come out and said that he would take less money to stay in Tampa Bay to, quote, run it back, right? Or, I mean, they didn't say, but to go for another one. And Wyatt, I think you are right, man. Like, I don't think Gronk plays with any other quarterback but Brady. There was a reason why Gronk retired the first time, because I think there was rumors and like grumblings of Brady retiring as well, like at that time. So I don't think Gronk goes to Miami. I think he stays in Tampa Bay, takes a hometown deal. You know, I'm even going to go out on a limb and say he takes the veteran lowest pay, which is what, like $3 million a season, I believe it is. So Gronk stays in Tampa, gets the $3 million per season, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are arguably going to be Super Bowl favorites again come here in like 5 or 6 months.
All right, and our final prospect here for the free agent, what we consider this, Franchise Tag Tuesday. There we go. Got the name finally. Here we go. Our final one here. It's a name that we have mentioned many times. That is wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster with the Steelers, was with the Steelers. He did not get his franchise tag. He will be on the open market. So, with that being said, there are rumors of Indianapolis. There are rumors of many teams, Indianapolis being the favorite, of course, because of their wide receiver core and having some holes in it. That is one of the very few holes they have on this team because they now have a top 10 quarterback in Carson Wentz there to support whatever wide receiver comes in. But with that being said, Juju Smith-Schuster, Buck, where does he land and why?
So I have a inside source here, guys. It is
an inside source. Here we go.
It comes from a person with a blue check mark next to their name by the name of Chase Claypool. Over there on TikTok, he tagged Juju, and he basically said, "Take all my money," and threw it at him and said, hashtag stay in Pittsburgh. I don't think Juju is leaving Pittsburgh. The reason why he did not sign their franchise tender was because the Pittsburgh Steelers are, they have 17, 18 free agents this year. And so Juju has to get a deal so it doesn't hit the salary cap as hard as the franchise tag would. And I think Juju is happy in Pittsburgh. Look at how much fun he had on TikTok, guys. They're all dancing on the logos for the games. Him and Chase Claypool and all the other receivers that they seem to have.
Got him murdered
one time, but in the playoff games twice, right? But nonetheless, like when you legitimately love going to a job, like I'm a type of person that would turn down less money to stay at a place that I love and enjoy. So I think Juju stays in Pittsburgh because he enjoys being in Pittsburgh. Like, he just enjoys it.
I think that I think the Colts, I really do. I think the Colts fit Juju Smith-Schuster. I think that they're trying to do big things there in Indianapolis, even though they did go ahead and get that garbage quarterback in Carson Wentz.
Top 10 quarterback. I think you stuttered.
No, I didn't. I'm not Buck. I said garbage quarterback.
Aww.
He is not a top 10 quarterback.
So rude.
Trash. Stop it. He's. It drives me.
Boomer
nuts.
hater.
You've already got you.
Boomer hater.
Actually, you know what? The way you
Boomer
throw around
hater.
the word great, Alan Lazard must be a top 3 wide receiver as well. So you know what? Maybe he is a top 10 quarterback in Wyatt Williams' world. But you know what? Wyatt Williams' world is nonsense. Because
It's a beautiful world.
Wyatt's World. Party on.
Party on, Combs.
It's
Party
filled
on,
with
Wyatt.
maids, and even your dad doesn't want to be in it, and he's leaving you to go to a NASCAR race and leaving you at home because he knows Wyatt's World is nonsense.
God, I love Wayne's World. It's amazing.
Are you even old enough to know what that movie is all about?
Dude, Wayne's World is one of my favorite movies of all time. I may be a young guy.
We really don't care what you think about Wayne's World there, Wyatt. So let's go ahead and go to a quick little break. Combs, that was sly, wasn't it?
Oh, I love loved every second of that.
Love every second of it. Wyatt, you can go ahead and send us a break, man, since you're leading the show. Go ahead. Buddy.
Absolutely. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen,
yeah, we are going to go to break, guys. So we'll be right back. Wyatt's mic seems to be messing up, so we'll be right back, guys.
The bass and the sunset low. Every day like a Mardi Gras. Everybody party all day. No work, all play.
okay, technical difficulties. Had the headphones turned way too high. Got them back down. Mike was still on mute from the boys muting me. Mic issues in quotes, of course. But hey, bringing on the boys here. You see him there. That's Combs. That's Buck. And we've got some shop talk for you. We do not have any just yet. So with that being said, I will just toss something out here. And this is something that I've had on my mind here recently.
We've also had this on our mind, Wyatt. How many times can you get muted in one show and realize that you have not been muted and still be talking?
Too many.
Too many. All right, Wyatt. Well, what has been on your mind, man? Sorry, like we're just having some fun.
Nothing. I'm just gonna get muted again. No, it's fine.
No, you won't.
I'm just gonna get muted again. No. Hey, but I mentioned this on Twitter. I sent it to.
We sure did.
So let's
mention
talk
on
about. I want to talk about Ndamukong Suh. Like, well, how did we not touch on Ndamukong Suh yet?
His face is classic.
Ndamukong Suh, as Wyatt leaves the show, he is done for the night. Thank God. Ndamukong Suh being a free agent is actually pretty huge. I don't know where or who has the room to go pick up Ndamukong Suh.
Kansas City.
What he's going to be asking. Oh, stop! Oh my God, I got to drink again. But anyway, I don't know where he lands. I mean, you say Kansas City. I mean, it's not really far fetched.
To be honest with you, I think he goes back to the NFC North, to Packerland. To be honest, because they need some run. They need some run stopping ability, and why I think you guys could really use him, right?
No. I mean, we could use him, but no, you will never see Aaron Rodgers and Ndamukong Suh play on the same team. Not after Ndamukong Suh tried to break Aaron Rodgers' leg twice. I personally, he is on the Kevin King level of Wyatt wants to fight him, okay? You put me in the ring with Ndamukong Suh and Kevin King, I'll tear those two guys up.
Oh.
I will tear those two guys up.
Why? You won't do anything.
I will.
You will literally run around screaming like a little girl.
Why would you not want somebody on your team that could potentially put you in the Super Bowl?
I would rather have Yannick Ngakoue. I'll take Yannick every day of the week. He's younger. He's better.
Available?
He's available. He also didn't stomp my quarterback's leg twice and kick my lineman in the head.
How
You know
did we not
who
talk
did
about
that?
where he's
Do you know
going?
who did that? Nodonican Sue did that because Nodonican Sue is a dirty player.
How old were you when that happened?
3. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was.
You were like
I think
11,
I was like
right?
No, I was like 14, 15.
That was
It's like
over
4 or
half
5
your life
years
ago.
ago.
That was over half your life
not
ago.
like 3 or 4 years ago.
No.
Yes, it was.
It was like his second or third year in the league, and he's got to be 33, 34, I
It's
bet,
like
right,
2010, 2011. I think he
Yeah.
might have been 4 at the time at most.
Seriously though, Wyatt, like Sue has been in the league for a long time. Like I remember him coming out of Nebraska. Combs, I think you're right. I think it was 2011,
2014.
Okay,
so you were 5. Sorry,
that was 8 years ago. Scars heal,
10.
Wyatt. That was over half your life ago, Wyatt. But do you realize scar?
My life ago.
How old are you?
Close
18.
enough to half your life ago.
Okay, it was 40% of your life ago.
So
But are you telling me that like Aaron Rodgers would not welcome a person like Sue on a team that can say, you know what? We are a defensive tackle away to winning a Super Bowl.
we're not
Come
a
on.
defensive tackle away though. We've
Yes,
got
you
Kenny
are.
Stills.
You just
or not
said
Kenny,
it.
Not Kenny Stills. I'm taking it back. Kenny Clark.
Holy
we got
cow.
Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark is one of the top defensive tackles
Never
in the
heard
league.
of her.
What? Well, Mitch Trubisky's heard of him because he's knocked Mitch Trubisky on his butt like 30 times.
So
Look
is
up
the
Kenny
rest of the
Stills.
league.
He's a Pro Bowler.
Who?
Kenny Stills. Or
Kenny Stills.
Kenny Clark.
Stills is a wide
Kenny
receiver.
Clark. Kenny Clark. Why do I keep Kenny Clark? Blah. Kenny Clark. Good lord.
Is that like I don't know? Is that a guy from the Three Stooges or like I don't know? Who
Combs,
Kenny
you are
Clark
trying to push the buttons, but it's failing horribly, man.
is. I don't know who Kenny Clark is. I've never even heard of the guy.
How do you not? He tackles your quarterback and wide receiver numerous, and I mean numerous times.
Everybody in the
Every time.
league tackles my quarterback numerous times when we play them.
That's true. That is very true. But Kenny Clark stands out above the rest. He is a Pro Bowler.
Because I've never heard of him.
Well, that is
So-
probably because you haven't watched the Green Bay Packers game your entire life.
No, because they suck.
there are 3 fundamental flaws in the statement that you have made. Yes, Kenny Clark is a good defensive tackle, right? But do you know how you defeat a good defensive tackle? Run to the other side. Run to the other side. It is not that
Darius
hard.
Smith is standing there.
And what did he do this year? He got ran over all
No,
year,
that's
man.
Preston Smith got ran
Oh,
over. So Darius played good. Preston
In
Preston
Wyatt's
got bullied
defense,
though.
Buck, there are fundamental flaws in every argument that he makes.
True. But that's besides the point. That's
Says
here and
Jameis
there.
Winston is my god.
First of all, I didn't say he was a god. I said he's a better quarterback than Drew Brees this year.
just
and he's
kidding.
a
I'm
top
just
10
kidding.
quarterback.
I'm just
Unlike
kidding.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz is a top 5 quarterback. Oh gosh,
So why? You don't want Ndamukong Suh on the Green Bay Packers?
Not at all.
Why? Just because of
I-
the argument?
no, I hate his.
Man Hour Nation! Rise up.
Head over to Man Hour Radio.